Amy continued to look at her in silence. Her eyes told Kristen exactly what she was thinking. Then she stopped a police officer who was walking past them out of the room. "Was this a break-in?" "No, ma'am. There isn't any forced entry. Besides, the lady next door gave us a description of Miss Collins' boyfriend as the one who was driving the U-Haul truck. He and two other men told her that Miss Collins was moving out." She closed her eyes, wishing cops would keep their mouths shut. She'd heard the news 40 minutes ago when her neighbor had told them the story in the first place. Amy handed her another tissue from her purse. "Well, don't worry. I've got plenty of room in my spare—" Kristen shook her head. "I'm not staying at your place." Amy frowned. "You're not staying here?" She looked around. "Why not? It's not like he's going to come back for the carpet," she said. Amy chuckled, then looked Kristen in the eyes. They'd known each other long enough for Amy to know that she wasn't backing down. Finally, Amy conceded. "Fine, but you're having the locks changed, and we're going to go buy you some basics." She quickly hugged her friend again. After waiting an hour for the locksmith to install new locks on Kristen's apartment door, they headed out to the mall to get toiletries and some new clothes. 3 hours later, just as snow was starting to fall, they walked back up the stairs toward her apartment. It was an old building in an older part of downtown, and Kristen loved every inch of the place. Sure, the carpet was a little worn, and it took 5 minutes for the water to heat up, but she wouldn't have traded it for the world, especially when she looked out her living room windows and saw the panoramic view of Denver. The Rockies spread from one side of the large windows to the next. Well, at least on days when it wasn't snowing or cloudy. The apartment was minutes to her office, and she loved riding the light rail every day, even when it was cold and snowy. On their first stop, they had gone to a giant outdoor sporting goods store, and she was now the proud owner of an air mattress, a small digital alarm clock, and an extra fluffy sleeping bag. Then they had gone to the mall downtown, where they had started to make a dent in replacing her lost items. The jerk had even stolen most of her clothes. Amy had different tastes in clothing than she did, which made clothes shopping with her interesting. Somehow her friend always talked her into buying stuff that Kristen wouldn't have picked out for herself. Things that looked more professional. Tailored skirts, silk blouses. She'd even convinced her to buy a blazer. What was she going to do with a blazer? "What do you think he wants with my shoes?" she asked as Amy helped her unload her items. "Maybe he's really a cross-dresser and wanted a new wardrobe." Amy tried to hide a smile. Kristen shrugged. "It would never work. I wear a size 8 shoe. He's a size 10 in men's." They both laughed. "It's going to take some time to replace everything." Kristen put her hands on her hips as she looked around her empty place. They had bought 2 big bean bags for her living room. The older television, which they had picked up from her mother's place, sat on a small table across the room. At least now she could sit back and relax comfortably until the insurance check arrived, and she could afford a new sofa and more furniture. "Don't worry, insurance will pay for most of it. We can make a run to the furniture store this weekend if you want." She thought about how much time she'd spent picking out her last furniture. Then she remembered she already had plans and stifled a groan. "I've got that thing with my folks." "Oh, right." Amy's parents had divorced when she was 12, so she didn't have to attend monthly dinners with the two of them. But Kristen's folks, despite some drama recently, were still happily together. It made Kristen want to run in the opposite direction every time she had to sit through a hand-holding, kissy-face monthly dinner. Even though her parents were legally separated, they had started dating each other again and acted like lovesick teenagers around her. She loved her parents, really. She just wished they would act their ages instead of like hormonal teenagers who needed to get a room. "I'll go through my closet and drop off some clothes for you later this week." Don't